History doesn't always announce when it's about to change. Sometimes it happens in complete silence. As the final whistle echoed through the stadium, Spain erupted. Portugal stood frozen. And Cristiano Ronaldo didn't move. No celebration, no protest, no tears. Just one long stare into the distance. For millions watching around the world, it looked like the end of a football match. But they were wrong. What they had actually witnessed was the final page of a story that began over 3 decades earlier. And the most unbelievable part? That story almost never happened. Before Cristiano Ronaldo became one of the greatest athletes in history, before the 5 Ballon d'Ors, before the Champions League glory, before the world called him CR7, he was just a boy from a tiny island who wasn't supposed to make it. And once you discover what he had to overcome before he even became a professional, you'll understand why this final World Cup defeat means so much more than losing a game. Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro was born on February 5, 1985, on the Portuguese island of Madeira. It wasn't a place where football legends were expected to come from. His family lived a simple life. Money was scarce. His father worked long hours as a gardener and kitman for a local football club. His mother worked tirelessly to provide for the family. There were no guarantees, no shortcuts, no famous connections, only one dream and one football. While other children played until sunset, Cristiano refused to stop. For him, football wasn't entertainment. It was an escape, a chance to build a future that looked impossible. Even as a child, losing wasn't something he accepted. Coaches remember a young Ronaldo who would cry after defeats, not because someone blamed him, but because he demanded perfection from himself. That relentless mentality would eventually become his greatest strength. Then came the first real test. At just 12 years old, his friends, his entire world, to chase a dream that offered no promises. Many young players returned home. The pressure was simply too much. Cristiano stayed. He trained when others rested. He worked when nobody was watching. And every single day, he convinced himself that one day, the world would know his name. But life had one more obstacle waiting. At 15 years old, doctors discovered a heart condition that required surgery. For most teenagers, that news would have ended the dream. For Cristiano Ronaldo, it became another reason to fight. The surgery was successful. Within days, he was back on the training pitch. The dream had survived, and so had the boy who refused to quit. Just 3 years later, one preseason match against Manchester United would change football forever. By the end of that night, Sir Alex Ferguson had already made his decision. He wasn't looking at another talented teenager. He was looking at the future of football. And that is where our story truly begins. Some opportunities come once in a lifetime. For Cristiano Ronaldo, that opportunity arrived on a summer evening in 2003. Sporting CP was playing a preseason friendly against Manchester United. To everyone else, it was just another exhibition match. But to an 18-year-old Ronaldo, it was the biggest audition of his life. From the very first whistle, he played without fear. He attacked every defender. Every sprint was explosive. Every dribble demanded attention. Manchester United's experienced backline simply couldn't contain him. By the final whistle, the result no longer mattered. The only thing anyone was talking about was the young winger wearing Sporting's green and white shirt. Inside the Manchester United dressing room, something remarkable happened. several senior players reportedly turned to Sir Alex Ferguson and said the same words: "We have to sign this kid." Ferguson didn't hesitate. Just days later, Cristiano Ronaldo became a Manchester United player. Then came the surprise that shocked even Ronaldo himself. Sir Alex handed him the legendary number 7 shirt, a number once worn by George Best, Eric Cantona, and David Beckham. It wasn't just a jersey, it was a promise and a challenge.
England was tougher, faster, and far more physical than Portugal. Every mistake was criticized. Every match was a test. But while others saw pressure, Cristiano saw opportunity. He trained longer than anyone else, worked harder than anyone else. And little by little, the teenager from Madeira began transforming into something football had never seen before. The world had discovered Cristiano Ronaldo, but it hadn't met CR7 yet. And in Spain, another young genius named Lionel Messi was about to change football forever. The greatest rivalry in sports history was about to begin.
Success didn't change Cristiano Ronaldo. It changed his ambition. Most young players dream of making it to Manchester United. Ronaldo had already achieved that. Now, he wanted something even bigger. He wanted to become the best footballer in the world. While his teammates headed home after training, Cristiano stayed behind, practicing free kicks, working on his finishing, building strength in the gym. Every extra hour was another step toward perfection. People called it obsession. Ronaldo called it preparation. Season after season, the results became impossible to ignore. His speed terrified defenders. His headers defied physics. His goals kept coming. The flashy teenager from Madeira was disappearing, and in his place stood a complete footballer. Then came the 2007-08 season. It was the year everything changed. Ronaldo scored goal after goal, leading Manchester United to both the Premier League title and the UEFA Champions League trophy. Months later, football's highest individual honor arrived. Cristiano Ronaldo won his first Ballon d'Or. He was officially crowned the best player on the planet. But standing on top of the world brought a new challenge. Across Spain, a quiet young magician named Lionel Messi was beginning to shine for Barcelona. Football had never seen two talents rise to greatness at the same time. Fans debated endlessly. Who was better, the explosive goal machine from Portugal or the gifted playmaker from Argentina? No one knew it yet, but that question would dominate football for the next 15 years. Just as Ronaldo reached the peak of English football, a call came from Spain. Real Madrid wanted him, not for millions, but for a world record transfer fee. The next chapter wouldn't just change Ronaldo's career, it would change football history forever. Some players join clubs. Only a few become history. In the summer of 2009, Cristiano Ronaldo arrived at Real Madrid for a world record transfer fee. The expectations were enormous. The Santiago Bernabeu wasn't looking for another star. It was waiting for a savior. And Ronaldo embraced the pressure. Season after season, he shattered records that many believed would stand forever. 40 goals became normal, then 50, then 60. Defenders changed, managers changed, but one thing never did. Cristiano Ronaldo kept scoring. Meanwhile, every El Clasico became more than a football match. It became a global event. On one side stood Lionel Messi. On the other stood Cristiano Ronaldo. Two different styles, two different personalities, one unforgettable rivalry. Fans didn't just support clubs anymore. They chose sides. Messi or Ronaldo, Barcelona or Real Madrid.
The debate spread across every continent, turning football into a worldwide conversation. But while the rivalry captured headlines, Ronaldo kept building his legacy. He led Real Madrid to 4 UEFA Champions League titles in 5 seasons, producing unforgettable performances on football's biggest stage. When the pressure was highest, he played his best. By the time he left Madrid in 2018, he had scored 451 goals in 438 appearances, becoming the club's all-time leading scorer. He had conquered Spain. He had conquered Europe. There was only one dream left: to conquer the world with Portugal. After leaving Real Madrid, Ronaldo faced the biggest challenge of his international career. The trophies had made him a superstar, but one World Cup could make him immortal. And that's where the final chapter of his journey truly begins. For Cristiano Ronaldo, club football had given him everything. League titles, Champions League trophies, Ballon d'Ors, world records. But there was one achievement that still defined his legacy: winning for Portugal. Every time Ronaldo wore the national jersey, he wasn't just representing a team. He was carrying the hopes of an entire country. For years, Portugal came close, but the biggest prize always slipped away. Then, in 2016, everything changed. Against all odds, Portugal reached the UEFA European Championship final. When Ronaldo suffered an early injury and was forced off the pitch, many believed the dream was over. But from the sidelines, he refused to sit quietly. He became a second coach, urging his teammates forward with every ounce of emotion. When the final whistle blew, Portugal had defeated France. For the first time in history, Portugal were champions of Europe. It wasn't Ronaldo who scored the winning goal, but it was his belief that inspired a generation. 3 years later, Portugal added another international trophy by winning the UEFA Nations League. At that moment, it seemed Ronaldo had completed football. But one dream still remained untouched: the FIFA World Cup. As the years passed, a new generation of Portuguese stars emerged: Rafael Leao, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, João Neves. The future looked bright. Yet whenever Portugal stepped onto the pitch, all eyes still searched for one man: Cristiano Ronaldo. At 41 years old, he knew this would likely be his final chance to lift football's greatest trophy. The world wasn't just watching Portugal enter the 2026 FIFA World Cup. It was watching the last World Cup of one of the greatest players in history. No one imagined how painfully that journey would end. The 2026 FIFA World Cup wasn't just another tournament. For Cristiano Ronaldo, it was the final mission of a career that had inspired millions. Portugal arrived with one of the strongest squads in the competition. Young stars surrounded their legendary captain, and many believed this team had everything it needed to win the World Cup. Match after match, Portugal fought their way into the knockout stage. Then came the ultimate test: Spain. 2 rivals, 1 place in the next round. From the opening whistle, the match was tense. Portugal defended with discipline, while Spain controlled possession, patiently waiting for one mistake. Ronaldo searched for one magical moment, one chance to change the game. But Spain never gave him the space he needed. As the clock ticked into the closing minutes, the tension became unbearable. Then, disaster struck. A late Spanish goal shattered Portugal's dream. In an instant, years of hope disappeared. For the fans, it was a heartbreaking defeat. For Cristiano Ronaldo, it felt like the final page of an unforgettable story. As Spain celebrated, one image captured the world's attention. Cristiano Ronaldo stood completely still,
staring into the distance. No words, no excuses, just silence. And that silent moment would become one of the most emotional images in football history. As the final whistle echoed through the stadium, Spain celebrated. Portugal stood in silence. Cristiano Ronaldo slowly looked around the pitch, taking in a moment he had spent his entire life chasing. For over 2 decades, he had carried Portugal through unforgettable victories, painful defeats, and historic achievements. Now, that journey had reached its final World Cup chapter. Critics would debate the tactics. Some would question the manager's decisions. Others would wonder if Portugal relied too heavily on a 41-year-old legend. But one thing was undeniable. Cristiano Ronaldo had already changed football forever. He inspired an entire generation to believe that talent alone was never enough. Discipline, sacrifice, and relentless hard work were the real foundations of greatness. Whether you supported Ronaldo or not, his impact on the game could never be measured by trophies alone. He turned impossible dreams into achievable goals for millions of young athletes around the world. The World Cup dream may have slipped away, but legends are not remembered for how their story ends. They're remembered for the lives they change along the way. And Cristiano Ronaldo's story will continue to inspire long after the final whistle is faded. One day, every record will be broken. Every trophy will belong to someone else. Every stadium will cheer for a new generation. That's how sports have always worked. But every once in a while, an athlete comes along whose legacy can never be measured by numbers alone. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of those athletes. Yes, he scored hundreds of goals. Yes, he lifted some of football's greatest trophies. Yes, he became one of the most recognizable athletes on the planet. But those achievements are only part of his story. His greatest victory was proving that greatness isn't a gift, it's a choice. A choice to wake up earlier, to train harder, to keep believing when the world tells you to stop. From the narrow streets of Madeira to the biggest stadiums on earth, Ronaldo's journey showed millions of people that your beginning does not decide your ending. Whether you believe Lionel Messi is the greatest or Cristiano Ronaldo, one truth remains impossible to deny. Football was forever changed because they shared the same era. And when future generations look back at this period, they won't just remember the goals. They'll remember the inspiration, the discipline, the rivalry, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. Because legends don't disappear when they leave the pitch. They live on in every child who dares to dream a little bigger. As the lights dimmed on Cristiano Ronaldo's final World Cup, they also illuminated something far greater than a football career. They revealed the story of a boy who refused to let his circumstances define his future and became a symbol of what's possible through determination. Because in the end, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't just play football. He inspired the world to believe that impossible dreams are worth chasing. And that is a legacy that will never hear the final whistle. If stories like this remind you why sports are about more than just winning, then subscribe, because the next legend story is just beginning.